Alrighty. Can't figure out what I did with my tablet this morning. I had it in my hand somewhere. I don't know where I left it. Anyhow, and I've checked the bathroom. You know, that's usually one of the places that get lost. Anyway, it's Doc from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So I can't see if Giannis is saying, "Are you awake? Where are you?" I can't see anything. I don't see that our chain of communications, but I'll find it sooner or later. But here I am, and let's get going. Let's get going. Let's see, where's Mr. and Mrs. Mouse? As you can see up there, we're looking at the CAD. That's from yesterday. Let's go back, or that was me from this morning, I think. Let's go to the dollar. There it is right there. The banks are rallying here in the States. So, as crazy as it sounds, what they're doing is they sell dollars because now there's no flight to safety anymore. It's one of the stranger things about the marketplace. It always has amazed me. I've shaken my head. It's like our dollar is separate from us, and that's the amazing part. Is that you would not think it's that way, but it is. It's a separate thing. Hey, there we go. There's Robin. Hey, Robin. Also, I was working on a project for Robin at the same time. Metho 2000. Big guy. How you doing, Canadian? I've learned you're not JoJo. That's right. Good morning. Yep, it's the big guy again. Unfortunately, not the big guy in the White House. Oh, no, you don't want to be JoJo. JoJo is not sure if he's there or here or everywhere. Or, oh, my God. I wouldn't even put him in front of a truck. I can't even. They got to keep him down near the beach. Can you imagine? He'd probably literally walk right into a tractor. He could. You know, it's just, you don't want to be JoJo. Don't be JoJo. Anyhow. Where was I at? My train of thought. I had a train of thought going there. Oh yeah, it's the strangest thing, the dollar. The strangest beast. It is very strange. It's almost sometimes like it's separate from our domestic economy. It really is. It's an entity of its own. You know, in other words, it's backed by the power and strength of America, okay? But at the same time, it's like as if it doesn't pay attention to our economy. And isn't that odd? In other words, guns versus butter. I think that's how they used to describe it. Guns versus butter. In other words, guns meaning the power of the military and so forth and the strength of the country itself, the laws, and versus, say, butter meaning, you know, a good economy and feeding people, you know, that they used to say that guns or butter. And in these times it's a little confusing out of it all, but you know, in other words, it seems to be commingled. So, you know, you look at the dollar right now, and the dollar is moving down, and banks are being bought. They're buying banks, and the stock market is lifting. So you would think like, oh, let's run to the dollar. But no, they sell the dollar because it means that safety spot that they use, you know, in other words, you can't park a couple $100 billion everywhere. You know, as much as people want to pretend you can, you can't. And the reason why is liquidity. You know, in other words, you go and try to put. Imagine if you tried to throw $300 or $400 billion into Australia, it'd be like it would collapse. You know, in other words, their currency would go nuts because they can't handle the volume. They don't have that liquidity. They're a good economy, you know, so forth. They're a basic economy, you know, no problems. They have a floating currency. They have minerals, and they have a nice industrial base of, you know, for the size of the country or the population. But they can't handle. And the same thing with, there's only one other country, the second largest economy in the world, is the only one that has the ability to handle that. It's called the European Union. And that's why their currency floats, and, you know, they're like a 20-some-odd trillion dollar economy and so forth. But nobody else out there. And then I guess Japan would be third, you know, as an economy, could handle that, some of that size, you know, not all of it. And then obviously China can't handle it at all. They don't even have a floating currency. And so, you know, if they could handle it, they'd have a floating currency. I mean, that's plain and simple. So they can take the money. Every country could take the money. They could handle the, you know, if you handed them assets, they can find a way to buy U.S. bonds with it. It's again back to that strange situation. It's a very strange situation. I'm trying to dramatize how strange it is for us in the financial markets here in the states. That are not pro dollar or anti dollar. They're just We're traders, and so we shake our heads at that. American traders shake our heads at it. It's like that doesn't make any sense. They're buying our bonds, but we're the problem. It's like, wait a minute. It's like running inside a burning house and looking for safety. That's the way we think about it as traders. It's like, wait a minute. Why are they buying our bonds? And we know why. We are the liquidity. We're a very liquid. Our financial system is a very liquid system. It can handle half $500 billion. You can buy $20 billion worth of or $100 billion worth of dollars. It won't really move the dollar. It doesn't really move it more than a little bit from the currency that it's leaving. That's about it. Let me make that slurping sound as I take a sip of my tea. That was my first attempt at my tea this morning. And so it was sitting there hot. I wanted to taste it while it was still hot. So yeah, it's a very strange circumstance we're in. And so here we are this morning. You see, without the hinky ashkies on the J4X, you can see the dollar. Let's do it there. There you go. The dollar for the last 4 days has been going down, and you can see three red hinky ashkies. And I think we're 3 days in a sell when it comes to the dollar index here on Chicago Quant. Let's go over to that. Right there. There we are. Yeah, 3 days of red. It's been in the sell. I'm not sure what's wrong with that right there, but we'll figure it out. And so, and then you can see the fast moving algorithm is underneath the zero line. You can see the slow has broken the manifold and is heading towards the zero line. So there's some pressure there, and it's all because they seem to now JP Morgan is got a consortium of banks working to help out First Republic now. Before it was, I forget what it was. It was something else. But they're doing things that are positive, helping out the financial system. And so, so I guess there's a, whew, wow, that's over with, or we're moving towards away from it being over with. And so what's happening is that the mark, you can see the currency is moving down. Anyhow, that is where my head is at this morning. I always laugh at it too. I think like everybody else has to be. It's like the elephant in the room. It's like, wait a minute, we're having banking problems here and they're running towards the dollar. Now that the banking problem is over with, they're selling the dollar. It's like, shouldn't it be the other way around? That's what we used to think on the trading floor. So we go like, it should be the other way around, shouldn't it? It defies logic. But it is what it is, and that's how it works. So anyway, liquidity is kind of the theme of it all, really. All right, so from there, let's go over to the euro. Let's see what the euro is up to this morning, unless anybody wants to see anything. Oh, did you see how gold is backing off at the same time? Tanner, how you doing? Good morning to you. Good afternoon or good evening. Welcome to Welcome to our cyber trading pit here. We pretend that we're still in a trading pit and try to talk and think like we're in a trading pit. Yeah, gold this morning. Let's since we're on the currency. Remember, I was saying that for the last week. Instead of doing the South African rand, it makes more sense to just go right into the gold itself. It seems to be the better product. Look at gold this morning. Just as everything's doing fine. You still have inflation. You would think that this would have been done with the inflation, but no. I mean, the thing goes up almost 150 points in gold over a 10-day period. Not because of inflation. No. Because of a banking problem. Okay, yeah, see? And at the same time, what did the dollar do? The dollar went up at the same time. It's like, no. Anyhow, it's like that thing about running into a burning house. Excuse me for my next sip of tea there. All right, but that's the gold. Now let's go take a look at the euro. Let's go over to the euro and see what the second largest economy is doing. There it is right there. And there is the euros have been lifting up as the dollar goes down. Huzzah! That's the way it should go, and that's what we're seeing there, moving on, and action going on in that direction. And then let's see, let's put it up on J4X. We've been having a problem. Not J4X. Chicago Quant's been giving me a problem. A couple currencies don't seem to want to update. I don't understand why. And so there is yesterday. Where's today? Just a couple currencies are doing that to me. I mean, I need to call the software company and find out what the hell's going on, because everything else, like the yen and so forth, is moving fine. And so we closed yesterday in a daily buy when it comes to the euro against the dollar, and it's higher again today, as you you can see there on J4X, but it's not updating there. And I want to know, because the weekly may be starting to get through the weekly zero line. We're seeing that strength there, and if we turn off the hinky ashky, right there, you can see it's even higher today. Matter of fact, let's put it in there just to see alone if the weekly is getting across the zero line. So let me just put the same numbers I see up on J4X into this, and we'll straighten that out in a few seconds. But most of the other currencies are. As a matter of fact, my ticks are working on it too. It's just not bleeding into my software. I don't understand what the problem is there. Let's see. Let's load the because I want to see where the weekly is. That's got my eye. I'm like, hey, I want to know what they're doing there. So let's put this data in. I'll put that right there like that, and I'll load in all that data. Right. And then enter. They have Alan Dershowitz on, the Harvard professor, talking about what they're doing to former President Trump again. It is amazing the craziness that goes on in this country. We're like a bunch of children, I swear. It's like watching children sometimes. America is like watching a bunch of children. And the last one, here it comes, and we'll have it in there. It's at 107.79. 1.07792 to be exact. There it is. Let's put that in there, and let's see now how it looks. And we go like that and that. And let's do that right there, like so. Setting. Let's go to default instead. That's like that. There we are. And let's see what the weekly looks like. Same situation. Default. There we go. Yeah, look at that. I thought the weekly would be up and over. That doesn't surprise me any. Let's see, who's this? Hypersonic. Oh, okay. And so you can see here on Chicago Quant, and let's take a look at it also on J4X. Let's see, let's put the hinky ashkies back in right there, and then make this the weekly. And there's the weekly on the euro, and you can see it's, the fast-moving stochastic is moving up beyond the slow-moving stochastic. It bottomed out somewhere around in here, and it's starting to turn up. We're on a second week. You can see here we are the same way. We're starting a second week on the fast algorithm, but the slow algorithm is just joined in. So we're starting to see some, some buying in the euro against the dollar. The dollar is trying to pairs back, and that would make some sense. Boy, that would be, especially if you start to see the gold start to break down again, then you know for sure that this is calming down. That's pretty much what the recipe of it all is in the end. So there we go. So does anybody want to see anything particular? We can put that up on the screen. We can move away from what we're doing, or a different currency, or any of that other stuff, and so there's your action we're seeing right there, though. From that, let's drift over to, let's go back to the daily, and let's go take a look at cable. And there's cable. Cable's doing the same thing, and it's up at the high end of the range too, and they're still pressing up. It's definitely pressing up and showing lots of. There's more buying going on. I noticed that the Euro GBP has been in the minus versus that. And not that. Someone dinged again, and I don't know where the tablet is, so I can't see if Giannis or anybody's trying to talk to me through that system. Where did I put that tablet? It makes no sense. Let me take a quick look, just in case, and let me put the cable up on Chicago Quant at the same time. Right there. And there's the cable. Marching along in the buy. What is that? That's yesterday too. Let's see if I can get this thing to reload today. What is its malfunction? So yeah, there we go. So I'm confused on that, but that's 2 days in a buy, and you can see that strength kicking in. The weekly closed in a weekly buy last week, and it doesn't seem to be letting go. Let me just take a quick look in the kitchen. Maybe that's where I left it. It's strange as all get out that I did that to begin with. I found it. Oh, the microphone fell down too. And so, what is that? Oh, that's a little thing. There we are. So, where we are at this point in time is, at least I found my tablet. Let me see if Giannis or anybody's been trying to contact me. This way I can always answer through there too at the same time, verbally here. No. Good. I'm not in trouble. I like that. I hate it when I miss questions or answers or things like that. All right. From there, we go over to the Swiss. I imagine the Swiss should be moving down. I would think that's the way it's playing out. Oh, yeah. There we are. Now, what is that? How's that 2 days behind? I don't understand this. Some of these things are not updating. And I don't understand why. Close. Now what is going on with the Swiss? Wow, we've lost a lot of data. I guess I'm going to have to find a way of cleaning this out. I know that the yen is updating. There's the yen. I don't understand it. Some of these are not updating, and I don't understand why. But anyway, let's go check out Swiss on J4X. At least we have the J4X. It'll keep us honest, and then we can always reload the data in. And there it is right there. And the Swiss is sideways here, just sideways. Let me take the hinkies off for a second. See what the bar... Yeah, see, it's at the lows of the last 4 days. And that's good. And so you can see here, the last time we looked at the Swiss, it was heading for a sell. And why is it not updating? We'll have to work on that. We will work on that and try to straighten that out. But as you can see here, it's breaking down, and that would make sense. They've kind of dealt with that Credit Suisse situation. What else can we say about any of that stuff that's going on there? They've got UBS buying it. That's pretty cool. It's firming up the whole bank, the private bank situation over there, and that's necessary for people to feel comfortable. And that will help out. So we're seeing some, this is, and let me backtrack a little bit. All these problems are combined together with two things. One is central banks keeping interest rates at zero or minus. All right, that's the one thing. And then the other thing is for government spending money here in the United States. I mean, Biden has spent $5 trillion in 2 years. That's a lot of money. $5 trillion extra. $5 trillion in debt. That's what that is. Not just $5 trillion, just $5 trillion more in debt he's created. That's a big number. So that really has, profound effect on the way everything starts to look over time, because it's sucking up resources. They're borrowing to do that, and as they borrow to do that, that really makes things even worse. That's what the problem is. So, um, and that's where that's kind of like where we're at the moment. Is that when you look at the banking system and the inflation. I mean, you can only do so much. The central see that's the problem is that like we have today starts the first day of the Federal Reserve. Tomorrow they announce if they're going to raise rates or not. They're discussing it today. And one of the problems is that when you are doing policies that are very negative to the economy, then what happens is that you end up making a disaster out of it all, and you end up creating problems like inflation, spending more than people have, and so that is the real problem. There is that we're at a point now where we need to back off the ridiculous spending, and it's really hard for them. The politicians in power right now don't want to do that. And luckily, we got a new Congress, so that really helped out a lot. We're not seeing, they're slowing it down, and that's why we thought the markets were acting, so much more firmer than we expected. That's why we've seen that. In other words, some thought that we should have a crash or we should be at enormous low numbers or something of that nature. There was this attitude, well, it's going to stay that way. And then what happens is that the spending all of a sudden became very clear that they were going to hold the line. And once they started holding the line, in other words, not spending like, just throwing money out the door, once they started doing that, then it really started to show us that they could conquer the inflation. And then the markets firmed up and they started thinking, okay, we can go. But then the banking situation occurred. And now that's where we are. Now we seem to be coming to the end of this banking problem. And that's why the dollar is moving down. Because, again, that flight to safety thing. And so, we're kind of like, all right, good. Let's keep this up. Let's stop doing stupid things. All right, so there we go. I think we've got it updated too now. We can, is that right? That's the low. Okay, I screwed that up. Let's see what the low is, because I want to see where we are. So that's 3, make that 3, and then do that there like that. Good. And now we'll be able to update the Swiss. I want to see where the weekly is. I want to see if they're starting to break this thing down. And let's see, where do we go? We go like this, click, format, and we go like that. And then it goes over here, and we go like there, and bang. There we go. Yeah, so we're pushing into that first full day. We're second day underneath the line. And let's see where the weekly has popped up to it. Let's see. Like that. There's the weekly. And the weekly is banging against the line. And the fast-moving stochastic, as you can see right there, I'm sorry, not stochastic, fast-moving algorithm has broken the line 2 weeks back, 3 weeks back at this point. And, it's so we're going on a third week with it underneath. And now we're getting, as much as this went into a sell, then climbed back into the buy last week, it's trying to do the same thing again as go back underneath again. And I would expect to see the Swiss, as things smooth out, probably play the bottom end of this line right in here. Probably like 91.5, something like that. I could see the Swiss kind of start to park itself down in that area. And when you really shrink it all down together like that, it would make sense. It would go back to that mean, that mathematical mean. And we all pointed it out here back in October and November, the problems that were going on. I mean, we saw this product go up over 100, or one full 1.00. The high there is where we went into the daily sell that day, as you can see right there, was 101.40. 482, and we went into the weekly sell that week, and then you can see it collapsed the following week, and it kept on working its way down. This is when the Federal Reserve came in and helped the Swiss National Bank to prop up Credit Suisse. So that we pointed that out when we saw the swap money go through, where they were doing overnight swaps, where they lend money and then draw it back in later on, when it's not as important, not overnight, but more than like weekly swaps, that type of thing. All right. So from there, we drift over to, we saw the yen. Let's do that again with the yen. It's a very strong economy over there. As much as they've been stagnant for many years, at least it seems to be very liquid and still functional. You can see it's moving away from the euro, not the euro, the Swiss. The Swiss and the yen were marching together for a while, which was very odd. And now it seems to have stopped. And I think it wouldn't surprise me, because of the way the Japanese are very, I guess you could say, sophisticated in investments. I would say that what they've done is that they were probably connected to Credit Suisse. That's what I'm thinking. There was probably a lot of risk. And so when the yen and the, matter of fact, we'll show you that example, which is even more dramatic in the sense that same spot where it went into the weekly sell and the whole bit, just like over in the Swiss, right there. I mean, it was like lockstep. They both did it together. Let's see if we can come back to that again. Where's the Swiss at? What did I just put up there? That's the cable. So there's the Swiss. Same spot. They both topped out together when they started propping up Credit Suisse. So that's what kind of made them both function together, almost lockstep, which was really odd because they were moving in the opposite direction of the euro. And it was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense, because when you go look at the euro in the same time period right here, it was moving up against the dollar. It's gaining against the dollar. These two products were losing against the dollar. That's the odd part. When you look at that, that's losing against the dollar, not gaining against the dollar. It was doing that. And so then once that happened, they broke down and finally broke, So, all right. Whereas back here, this is where the euro made all-time lows. And then as seen, in other words, when the euro is going up, it's gaining against the dollar. When the Swiss is going up, it's a different pair. It's losing against the dollar because it's dollar. That's why the way it's labeled, dollar Swiss. So the dollar, when it's rising, the dollar is gaining against it. When we look at the Swiss, not the Swiss, the euro, it is, where's it at? Euro. See, right here somewhere. It's euro right there. Euro, dollar. So when it's going up, it's gaining against the dollar. And so the end result is that we found it very odd that the yen and the Japanese yen and the Swiss franc were marching together and opposite of the euro at the same time. We were talking about that. We thought that's the strangest thing. And so now we know no one's really said anything out loud. We haven't heard like some Maya Copa in Japan or something like that. Someone saying, "Oh, we should have never been so invested." We're not hearing any of that. But what we are hearing is that both currencies are functioning much better now that the Credit Suisse situation is over with. I think I've compared it to Deutsche Bank, and Citibank here in the United States, where they're pretty much, a hollow shell at this point. Just kind of slowly unwinding their positions and trying to grow out of the problem, I guess you could say. For a long time, the Federal Republic of Germany was trying to merge Deutsche Bank with like Commerzbank or something in Germany. But no one was willing to take the risk. That's the problem. I mean, Deutsche Bank is like Citibank in the United States. The crash of 2008, where it destroyed the global financial system, the Deutsche Bank is trading in that area today. In other words, it's not like J.P. Morgan or Goldman Sachs. It's not flying 50% higher. It's not doing better. it's still trading down in all-time low areas. Same thing with Citibank. Citibank is only trading a couple dollars higher than where it was in 2008. That's it, just a couple dollars, nothing more than that. It's 85, 90% off its all-time highs, just like Deutsche Bank is. So, and obviously now Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse is doing the same thing. It's at 95% away from its all-time highs. I hope that all makes sense. I know I have a stranger way of looking at things than most. From there, let's put that yen up there too. There's the yen. And you see that nice clean strength coming into the yen. We keep on thinking we'll see the 125 area somewhere. We'll see. And then, let's just take a look at it one more time here. And in the weekly, it's below the zero line this morning. You can see that the weekly. And the fast-moving algorithm dropped underneath there last week. So the pressure is, what is that? Let's get rid of that. There we go. And move that up to there, like so. There we go, representing the weakness. There we go. Oop. There we are. Let's fix that thing. Maybe that'll help. And I can pick it up. Can I pick it up? No, I can't pick it up. The thing is enormous. All I want it to do is I want it to be there, and let's move this over like so. There we are. That's better. And so it represents it being below the zero line. Now I've lost the zero line. Who cares? All right. Now from there we go over to the Turkish lira. You see the last 3 days the Turkish lira has been moving up. And let's put it up over on J4X. And there it is right there. You can see the pressure it's been on for the last few days. After that little slide down, it's put the hinkies back on. And you can see that's the green, just like the green right there. You got the green right there. So it just kind of emphasizes how they work together using the hinky ashkis match up to our dots over. It's just a lagging couple hours. That's it. But they usually represent each other pretty well. Just a few hours behind. The same thing with the weekly busting through. Let's put the weekly up there like so. And you can see there at the same time. There we go. The fast moving stochastic matches our algorithms. Again, just a few hours behind in information. That's all they are usually. And you can see there's the slow, there's the fast, and that acts like the zero line. When it breaks through it, it's bullish, and when it breaks below it, it's bearish. And that's where we're at with it here. It's trying to break through. You can see the strength, and the fast-moving algorithm itself is, been in the buy a week even earlier, whereas now the Turkish lira looks like it's kind of, I guess I don't know, maybe, I was assuming that the earthquake money, the foreign aid coming in was obviously making the euro drop because people needed to buy euros, not euros, I'm sorry, Turkish lira to be able to help out the population. Now that's starting to drift, and you can see some of these volatility days right there. That shows a lack of liquidity. That's what that's all about, which is real sad because as much as the currency got beat up over the last 8 or 9 years, at least the liquidity was there. We saw a very solid liquidity. We don't see the liquidity there anymore. We don't know the size, but there's something there. When it reaches certain sizes, they just let it fly. They don't protect the buyer or the seller at all. All right. From there, we slide over to. Let's go find the two currencies that match up to the two commodities. So we look at oil and Canadian. So let's put Canadian up here. Right there. There's Canadian. And as you can see, the Canadian's been losing value against the dollar on a weekly basis. And let's take a look at it on a daily basis. Right there. And you can see just recently it's been gaining, which is kind of odd, gaining against the dollar on a day-to-day basis for the last 6 days. Now let's go over here and take a look at oil. And there is the spot oil, May. And so just like the weekly, as the weekly was rising, let's just put it up on there again, or you can see even see here it was rising. All of a sudden, let's just do it again. I'll just emphasize it. So it's been rising, and oil's been dropping. It's been doing that same thing. And when you go back further, you see it's been dropped and then lifted a little bit and dropped even more. Now, at the same time, when we go into a very closer look on a day-to-day basis, you see it's been dropping against the dollar, which normally means oil is rising, and that's what it has been doing. It's going from a low of 65.38, and today's high now is 69.12. So it's gone up over $4 over the last 3 days, and it's from its low to its high. So it's that's why the Canadian is moving down. When oil is rising in value, Canadian does better against the dollar. All right, now from there we go over to gold. Let's put gold on here like so. We've already seen gold today. We know it's down on the day. When we turn off the hinky, you'll see the bar is minus. Right there. See, it's a red minus down. You see it's telling you it's down. And then turn it back on. And then when we go over to the South African Rand, since it's going down, the Rand should be going physically up. Right there. And there you can see it. It's been rising. So it's losing against the dollar. Because again, this pairs trade is a dollar South African Rand or ZAR. So it's not a ZAR USD. And that would be the reverse. And so we're seeing that weakness. We're at the highs, of I don't know how many months now. I mean, and we've got that political noise going on that, with the president there and the whole bit, and that's why we call it politics, 500,000 cash. We have it listed on there just to emphasize the strange thing that occurred that day when they found all that money in the president's office. And it's kind of messed up the charts to some extent, but it's doing the pattern correctly now. Whereas when this is, now this is what the problem is. You can see here, we see gold. Where is that? Gold is on here. And you can see that's the daily. So no more than, was that 3, 6, so it's 4, it's 8 days back, right? 8 days back. You go back 8 days and you see one day. Let's see, is that 4? And that's 4. Okay, so there's your 8 days back. And, the South African Rand is rising. And then gold gets, starts to take off. You can see it just take off. It's right there. It takes off. And we'll knock out the hinky ashkies too. It takes off, right? And it goes from, what is that? 19. What are we looking at here? Oh, that must be silver. That's silver. Let's find gold. There we are. And it takes off from here, and it goes from 1,800 basically, and runs to 2,000. All right, $200 move. Normally, before the politics, the political situation exploded in South Africa, that day does it, and a couple of days of, the Rand going down, but then it just changes gears, and the politics kicks in, and next thing you know, it's rising when it shouldn't be rising, with gold rising. It should be following it, and it's not following it, and that's what the problem is. And that's why I was saying in yesterday's webinar, and I think I've said it last week too, makes more sense to just buy gold, not the currency at the moment, because the currency has a, I guess you could say it has a haircut. That's what we refer to it on the trading floor. It has a haircut, or a premium or a discount going on because of the politics at the moment in South Africa. So you can't buy the South African rand and hope to catch the gains of gold when gold is rallying. It goes up $200. Before that politics, I mean, we would find the South African rand, let's scrunch it up a little bit here. I mean, the South African rand right there. I mean, it was down in the 16s. It was down in the 15s. It was having no problems. As gold was rallying, when last time gold made a rally, it drove itself down into the 14s. But ever since the politics right here, it's not working right anymore. It shows a change or two on a given day, but it's there's a problem here. I mean, this is a big problem right now. I mean, we saw gold from here go up to like $1,925 from $1,650, and the South African rand couldn't move. It's trapped inside the political noise. So, anyhow, just a warning to those that do trade the rand: be careful, because unless you need it for commerce, trading products and so forth, you might as well follow the gold instead, and that seems to be the answer to it all. All right, from there we go over and look at the Mexican peso, and that'll finish us off on the currencies. And there it is, the peso, moving down, and you can see there, it's trying to do another little lift up. It's been the strangest thing ever since there was the announcement that the president of Mexico said we're thinking about joining the BRICS. They've just marched this thing up pretty aggressively from the high 17s to the mid-low 19s. So that's a fast move, and you're vacillating back and forth. But finally, it's calming down. But we're still in that buy. We've been in the buy here since here. Let's put that line in there. Went into the buy right there, and it hasn't budged. Well, that's not it. There we go. And so that's the situation we're in with the Mexican peso. All right, now from there we close out the currencies, unless someone wants to see something like that. Yes to all. And we slide over to, we can take a look at silver. We had silver up there on there. It's a somewhat of a disappointment. You can see it's flatlined today. Let's put it up over here. And there's silver, just kind of not really going anywhere particular. It's way up. I guess they don't want to sell it. There's no particular reason, even with gold moving down today. There's no reason to really press on it. So it's kind of like standing around waiting for gold to make a real dramatic move. And from there, let's just take a quick look at the copper. There's copper. And copper is doing its best to try to lift up. We thought, yesterday we had that and that. Let me just refresh this. I get a feeling, wouldn't surprise me if copper gets rid of that red dot if I refresh this. Let's see what happens. Yep, it does. So, basically we can take that, and we've got that starting to kick in. Let's make it the whole bar like that. There we are. And that's what's going on today. It's starting to get going again. If the banking system, and I always say, I feel like I'm looking into the eyes of China when I look at copper. So if we're starting to see copper lift up, they feel like the coast may be clear. In other words, things might be better now with the banking system globally, and so they're probably starting to buy what they buy, the assets that they buy. And usually that is copper. Copper is the gold of China. All right, and then from there, we go over to the platinum. And we were complaining about the fact that platinum was having a hard time getting into the buy. It didn't get into the buy last week. It's trying to get into the buy this week. The fast algo is trying to break down on us. You see today that it's got a nice wide range, but it brought it back up. So maybe gold. Oh, look at that. We just lost the green dot and we're into the red. Because that's trading live there. Maybe gold will turn around. There you go. Now we got a green dot again on the platinum. So maybe they're going to gold. Maybe this is just a little refresher. In other words, they take some profits and then they say, "Hey, banking system, guess what? We still don't trust you. We're going to buy more of you," and that might be the way we're going to see this, because I am impressed with the fact that the platinum is trying to hold up there. That is a positive thing, and you can see that big long tail on it. Where is that at? Right there. You see that big long tail from today. And then maybe the gold will start to firm up. Not so far. It's got its long tail and it's still staying down. And we'll see how they treat it. All right. From there, we go over to the energy sector. Let's see. We saw crude oil. There's May, trading at 68.72. It's been lifting. It's up $3 now over the last 3 days, right, from the lows. 65. Where's the low? 65.38, and today is 68.71. So it's like $3.50 up. And you can see it's trading at 68.75. And let's look at the back month. 68.91. So it's only a 16-cent premium. Yesterday it was a 30-cent premium. And then we look at nat gas, which is a little perplexing. You see our fast algo has broken down. I mean, screamingly broken down. And you can see the daily is broken down, and the slow is not really budging much. But then it's trapped in a really tight range to begin with. This has been a fun, interesting, strange move. And it's been in a sell now, pretty much. I guess it went into there, and then it went like that. There we are. So it went into a buy for 1 day after going into the sell here. And this gap down was wild. It's kind of very unique the way natural gas has been trading. I want to take a look at it on the exchange chart. Let me do this real quick. I just want to check that out. I keep on hoping that they change the data in it. But they don't. But I keep on hoping. Hope is eternal with me. I'm saying it. There is May. No. Yeah, I guess that could be moved up a little bit more. The high is wrong here. I'll work on that. You know what? That'll be interesting to see. You know what? I think I'll do it with you here watching, because I want to see it. I am fascinated. Right there. Load. And I'm going to put the exchange number in there now. They've changed it a little bit. Very strange. The whole thing is strange with the way these things go. So back then, right there, and that is, wow, that's a big difference. It's 95 versus 79. Let's see if it changes anything there. All right. And let's try that. And then let's see if the settlement makes sense. The settlement is lower. Isn't that interesting? The settlement's even off compared to the old data. Like that. And then let me just double check the next day. No, it makes sense. And then that day. That makes... that could be changed also. Okay, let's fix that too from the exchange. On the 9th. No, it's the 8th. So it's 7-1. Okay, let's do that. There we go. And I'll see how that straightens that out a little bit more, maybe. Does right there, that's wrong to begin with, but let's do this now. Click on that. We'll change the data. Not the data, change the feed itself. Not the feed, the time reference area. 24/7. And see how that looks. Now let's fix the weekly and see if it does anything for the weekly. There we are. There's a big difference, isn't it? Look, it pushes it into the weekly sell. That's interesting. Sometimes I've got to stare at this stuff more and double check the exchange data to make sure it's accurate. There we are. That makes more sense now. Because I've been perplexed why this thing had not gotten into the weekly sell. It's because the data back here was off. Specifically these days right there. All right, and oh wow, look at that. So it pushes it to there now. That's interesting. And then that buy survives, and then it goes back into the sell again. Okay, that makes some sense. Let's save that too. I've been meaning to look at that, and I get pulled in too many directions. Save as. And we only have one client watching it, and we basically, they're not that deep into it. And so I try to keep it clean, and I kept on saying I'd go back and look. But they're not trading it to begin with. They just watch it. All right, that'll straighten that out now. Okay, good. That makes more sense to me. Because, I mean, to see the fast-moving algorithm so far down and the slow not pick up on it still. I mean, this week should have been minus, if nothing else. Not that. I wasn't expecting that. But this thing really had it all confused because the high was only like right there. It's a big difference, 25 cents in natural gas. It's a big, big difference. All right. Let's see. Where is it at? Let's go back to... Where else can we go? Okay, so from there, that's natural gas. Let's go over to J4X and look at Brent. We didn't look at Brent yet. There's Brent. Brent kind of, slowly trying to move itself up. Let's put the hinky on. You can see it's trying to turn green here today. You can see it's been trying to be in the buy for a bunch of days now. And now it's starting to join in. I thought we would see 62, 63 oil here in the States. I'm a little surprised we're back up to 68, 69. We'll see if they hold up by the end of the week. And then from there, let's see. Oh, I want to look at the natural gas company down in Spain. That's the only way we can get a fixed idea what's going on in Europe with natural gas. That's not it. There it is right there. Oh, let's just do this too. I want to look at natural gas on J4X, and I want to go back to the 6th just to look at it. There it is right there. There's the 6th. Okay, yeah. See how high up that is? Same as now the way we have it on ours. It's not that far off compared to being below the close. That's where the high was, below the close. That was so wrong. All right, now let's take a look at the Spanish company and see what they're doing with natural gas right there. Oh, no. Yeah, okay. It's still staying underneath 27. That's good. It's been parked in those mid-26s to high 26s at this point. So natural gas in Europe is obviously still feeling some of that pain. What else can we say about that? I guess that's about it there. All right. That's the energy. That's the whole... And let's see what the weekly looks like, too, with that Spanish company. I mean, it must be a sea of green. Oh, that's not too bad. They dialed it down for a little when it went after the 25s. And then now we're back up in there. You can see the green line has turned back up at the same time. All right. From there, we'll go over and look at the stock indices. Let's put the S&P 500 up there. S&P 500. Where are you? You're around here somewhere. That's the Russell 2000. There it is right there. You can see we're moving up again here. We're at the higher end of the range. And we go over to Chicago Quant. And there it is right there. You can see, at the highs, trying to go after the highs before the crazy banking situation kicked out. And we're as much as we're battling trying to get up, and it really seems to be trying to do it. It's flatlined and so forth. It's not exactly lifted all the way up. Back up to here. I imagine if it does, then we'll see this thing moving through the zero line on the weekly. Now, the one that has been rallying is the Tech 100. Because it's interest sensitive, very heavily interest sensitive. Microsoft and Intel, there's a lot of borrowing of capital to keep those companies rolling along. And so here it is right there. It closed in the weekly buy last week. It's acting very strong out of it. It's coming from the 11,750 to the 1200 750 area. So it's acting very strong. It's been in a daily buy now for a 6th day. It's showing lots of strength, and we see the S&P 500. I think it's 6 days or 5 days. Same thing. Yeah, 6 days. So the daily's lifting, but the weekly has not been doing it yet. Let me just double check the feed. Just double check it really quick. Okay, so that's a default. So let's go like this. Cancel. And let's do that one again. See what the weekly says. Alright, let's do the default. See if it moves it any. Yeah, see, it's moving it up. There you go. Because they're both the same feeds now. The daily and the weekly. You get these exchanges have a choice of giving you like 3 or 4 feeds all the time, and depending on the hour that you have them on, sometimes they don't update at all because they're turned off. And then so I have to switch them around to get the most up-to-date live. And you can see here we're hitting the 20, and this makes more sense. You can see if the green line is breaking the bottom of the manifold at this point, getting through it, and it's getting really tight. And what led this whole thing, not counting, was this one right here. We saw the Dow Jones Industrial Average been in a weekly sell since back here, since this big move from the 34,500 area. It's been in a weekly sell ever since. So it's been in a weekly sell 6 full weeks. It's starting to turn up too. Matter of fact, let's change the data feed to see what that does. So if the daily is that, it's on default. Good. Now let's see what the weekly is on. It's on default also. Okay, so they're fine. It's trying to get going. You can see the fast has moved up to the manifold, but the slow is still having a harder time. It probably has to get up into this area here before another 600-700 more points on the Dow to get it really moving on the upside there. All right. Let's see. The markets have opened. U.S. markets have opened. The Dow is up 328 points as we speak. There's a lot of yesterday the Dow was up 300 and some odd points. Today it's up 300 and some odd points. 340 points now. So we're seeing that. You can see the S&P 500 at its highs. We just saw it at 20 a few seconds ago. Now it's gotten up to 26. You can see we've been in a buy since, is that last night? Yeah, since last night we've been in a buy. Since the Asian hours, we've been in a buy on the longer term. The daily, the shorter term obviously goes up and down. It goes into a sell here, breaks down a little bit. Now it's trying to get back into the buy. It goes just a couple pops, and now, is that a sell? 70, what is that? That is a, done again, sell. It's a sell. Okay. And now it's jumped back into the buy right here. So it's back into the buy, and there it is. It's rising again, making new highs for the day already. There we go. So that's the action we're seeing in the marketplace here. All right, traders, we've had enough fun. Tomorrow is the numbers. So we'll be like, it'll happen when most of you are having your adult beverage or asleep. But it'll be 1 o'clock? Or is it 2 o'clock? I think it's 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which makes it 5 hours from now tomorrow. So if you're like having lunch or heading towards dinner, it'll be late night, tuning in at midnight for you. All right, traders, this is Doc from North America. Catch you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Look at them rise. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and smart day.